Welcome back, everybody. This is our third show, Avi. Can you believe it?
It's really surprising that we made it to the third show, and hopefully we'll be here for a long, long time.
I'm surprised we made it to one show, let alone three. Jeez Louise.
Yes,
well,
sir.
welcome to Plug In. We are Avi and Kyle, your internet's odd couple, who are your best source for everything that is anything. And we promise to never cover the Kardashians. Avi, we have a jam-packed show today.
Yes, sir.
Packed to the gills.
That's it. And we have a great guest to
Mike
talk to.
Munzing.
Yes.
So he'll be on the show today. And I hear that earlier today you were listening to the Apple announcement?
Yes, sir. The Apple today announced new products, new software, and we are going to cover a new product from Aputure as well as the world news. And we are going to talk about Ebola to Dr. Freedman, and hopefully he can tell us if we should be worried or not. So
yeah, I hear Dr. David Freedman is going to be sort of debuting with us a new technology he's got.
Yes, to do it faster check instead of just the thermometer in the airport.
Yeah.
And hoping that somebody passes without having temperature or holding ice cube.
Yeah. Now, our guest is Mike Munzing, and we have to make sure, maybe we could get our staff in the booth to check that he's not packing any guns before he comes in here. This guy is a certified A1 gun nut, and I don't mean that in a bad way because I like guns. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting show today.
Yes, and he is one of the conservative Republicans, and I hope that his ideas and some of his beliefs that we can work with the government to make the government more efficient and productive.
Well, good. So we're going to go ahead and bring him into the studio, and let's get this party started.
Okay, ready to rumble.
All right. Well, we brought our guest, Mr. Mike Munzing, into the studio. He is the Glen Beck of Aliso Viejo, I guess they call him. He was elected to city council in Aliso Viejo in November of 2012 and now serves as the director for the 12th District of Orange County Council of Governments. That's a mouthful. As a regional council member. Also, the Southern California Association of Governments, which covers 6 counties and 18 million residents. In June of 2012, he was reelected to his second term on the OC Republican Party's Central Committee for the 73rd Assembly District and was quickly asked to join its executive board in an advisory role. With a growing reputation as a fighter for limited government policies, Mike has also been appointed as a delegate to the state California Republican Party, where he was elected to a prestigious CAGOP platform committee by California Assemblywoman Diane Harkey. Beyond Mike's elected positions, he has recently been asked to sit on the board of directors for American Freedom Alliance, which is the organization that defends and upholds Western values and ideas. I hope we checked him before he came in. How you doing, Mike?
I'm gonna take a nap just thinking about all those stuff I'm doing. I just need to take a nap. That tires me out listening to it.
Yeah. It's a lot. So
you get involved.
Mike, just to start from the top, because your introduction is almost an encyclopedia, but here we go. What drove you to politics, and especially the Republican Party?
Well, and Avi and I go way back. We go back a couple of decades, I think.
Yes.
And so Avi's known me for a long
decades.
time from the real estate industry. I was always kind of a Reagan guy. I was a kid, got into the business world or started working as Carter was leaving and Reagan was coming in, and really formulated my views on politics and such. So being a mortgage guy and watching the debacle that was the real estate mortgage industry and having a pretty clear picture for 5 or 6, 7 years before it collapsed and nobody else seemed to want to pay attention to it, I kind of felt like, well, am I seeing something that nobody else is, or is there a lot of people lying to us out there? And I think it's a lot of both. So when that collapsed, I was upset. They started doing the loan modifications. I didn't like that. I just said, I need to get involved. And if I'm seeing this and other people aren't, then I've got to say something about it.
Yeah, I remember you for like we know each other for almost 20 years, but back then I know that your views were somewhat more moderate than today.
Well, you know what? They've certainly developed. You might say I was less political. I think that you know that I would never do subprime loans. Remember, I would never do the subprimes. I would never do the stated income loans. I wouldn't do the loans that got us into trouble because I felt like had a 30,000-foot view on that this isn't going to work well. And, you joked about the Glen Beck thing, and, Glen and Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin and a lot of these, and Hannity as well. These are guys who have, they're just, it's a lot of it's common sense stuff. I'm not 100% on those guys, but my outlook politically is for me now less Republican Democrat, because I do represent the Republican Party, and they've been very disappointing in many ways. On a national level, especially, I'm not proud of the DC guys at all. It's all part of the same cabal. They go out and drink together and they party together and they come in and it's a big show.
Probably they share the same hookers too.
You never know.
Them in the Secret Service.
Once the Secret Service is over with them. But what I like to do is look at everything, every data point, every piece of information that I can find, everything from the Bible to the Communist Manifesto to the Constitution to psychology and find what works and what doesn't work. And that's where, human nature and entitlements and all the welfare programs and just see, does that good for these people or is it bad for these people in the long run? And that's, both locally and now on all these other boards, how I like to kind of mold my views.
I know you told me once that in Aliso, Viejo, they wanted to build like another center beside the fancy
that
library.
Was one of the more recent fights. I mean, when I got on there, my focus was, as a resident, I went to a workshop. They call them, community workshops regarding a green city initiative.
Yes.
And that was a whole bunch of stuff coming out of the United Nations through a group called ICLEI. And it was not local. It was not locally driven. It was certainly not anything that many of the residents wanted. Those who get that warm and fuzzy, gee, we need to save the planet and we need to do all these things. None of it was related to that. It was more like the cap and trade issues they have here in California, where they take the money from the successful businessmen, and is it applied to anything environmental? No, it's applied to low-income housing and more of a redistribution.
Some of this is fine, but I agree with you on
the local stuff, right? Yeah, of course. Oh, recycling, as they said, it has to make sense. Does
even on the cabin trade, I agree with you there. They take the money, and yet the people that preaching the cabin trade, they're flying with private jets from around the corner and 16 SUVs to pick them up. So I agree with you there.
Exactly, and that's what they do to redistribute the money and get the votes.
Okay.
That's their goal.
I just have a quick point to make.
Yeah. Kyle.
You both have been friends longer than almost everyone in our control room has been alive. Just so you know. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of that.
Bobby's got more gray, but I'm starting to go that direction.
Yes.
That's all I had to say.
It's been a whole different change. Life takes its twists and turns.
I know working with the government takes a lot of time and energy. So when do you get the opportunity and the time to do I know you're
I've been in the mortgage industry for 25 years, real estate overall for 31. And that is what I do full time. I mean, sitting on city council in Aliso, Viejo, I mean, the resume is long and it's drawn out, but city council meetings are twice a month. And now that I've been on for a while, I've been able to, I always like to say when I first got on, there was a lot of trains going down the tracks that I either had to knock off the tracks or find ways to divert. But now that I've been on for a year and a half, I'm not the new guy at every turn, where I've had opportunities to slow things down and rethink them in a much calmer pace.
Yeah.
And so you run your own mortgage company,
right?
Munzing
Mortgage Group. And I've been one of the very few to maintain a mortgage broker firm, and there was a time when the government and the big banks wanted to put us out of business. I think the big banks still want to, but there's been a change in momentum now, and I think next year even more is going to be a move back towards the mortgage brokers. Those of us who have stayed in are going to do well. And a lot of it is because the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau has realized that those guys who are still out here being mortgage brokers are the ones with all the experience. And we're able to offer wholesale rates at a much lower cost to the borrower because we're not inside with a real estate company. We're not having to pay W-2, all this other expenses and office space and retirements and insurance.
Yeah.
We do it all ourselves.
Okay.
So
Let me ask this.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does this work then? Because you both are kind of in the same business. Is there
not really.
Is there a rivalry there? Or are you guys in kind of different aspects of the real estate business?
Well, I mean, the realtors are. I don't sell real estate at all.
I sell them. He finances.
Yeah,
Got
so,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Avi will find a buyer who wants to buy a home, and he'll call me up and say, "Hey, can you help them with the financing?"
Yeah.
I do the money. Avi does the real estate.
Now, when they sign, you don't hold a gun to their head.
No, actually, not. I
I'm
do
just
have
kidding.
I have my
joking.
application in for my concealed carry, so that'll be helpful when that comes. But I'm still a couple of months out from that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I think
the guy has short of a armored vehicle. His car
it's
is
militarized. But no, the important thing is with all the craziness going on in the world, we see what's going on with ISIS. We talk about that. We see what's going on with Ebola. That's less violent here, but we know that, I see behind the curtain on a lot of areas. My concern is where's the electricity going to be coming from in 7 to 10 years because they're shutting down San Onofre locally here in Southern California.
Yeah.
They shut down 2 power plants last year in Huntington Beach. There's not one power plant scheduled to be built in California at any point in the future.
So
And
I guess we need monkeys to pedal down.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of monkey pedaling.
so. To that point, are you kind of consider yourself like a prepper? Like, are you prepping? Do you have a bunker?
I certainly do believe that you should have at least a couple of weeks of because when the power goes out, it may be out. Well, it may be out indefinitely, but we certainly have enough water for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's good to have some canned food
good,
around.
yeah.
Just good
That's
to
in
have
case
something.
we have earthquake. But what do
Yeah.
you need the gun in case they come and steal your water?
Well, my bigger concern in Louisiana,
Yeah.
it was about a year ago. 2 Walmarts had their EBT card system went down for just part of a day. And just one EBT card going down, they rampaged those Walmarts, stripped every shelf dry, and it was that entire store was pretty much taken down.
Well, that's in
a matter of
Louisiana.
hours.
How many ADT cards carriers in Aliso?
Probably, well,
that
not
was
at Aliso
just
Viejo, but
my
probably
point
California.
is that's one item. Now,
Yeah.
if you shut down think about if you shut the electricity down
You're
for
done.
a 2-week
It's
period.
done.
Yeah.
No electricity means no gas for your cars because all the pumps are now electrically based.
So do you have cash stashed at home? Because
not
the
as-
ATM card will not
No,
work.
not at my residence. Nobody knows where I live.
Where in your
No,
house is it?
It's no, and that hasn't been we haven't really been doing that. I don't watch the prepper shows.
Yeah.
Of course, I watch Duck Dynasty because
Yeah,
I like the Robertsons.
Who doesn't?
But who doesn't?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Uncle
No, I
Si.
think that-
How can you not love Uncle Si?
I think that it's actually easier because I kind of am in the same mentality, like be prepared.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot easier
be
to get away
prepared.
with in a place like California because you're preparing for earthquakes anyways.
Yeah.
But we got to get to a commercial break. We'll get back into this with Mike when we get back. Welcome back. Well, we're back with our guest, Mr. Mike Munzing. He's been a handful to deal with so far. No, I'm
just playing with my new iPhone 6.
He's great, and he's got an iPhone 6. So
I just got that thing. It's cool.
He's got an iPhone 6 and no cash in his house, by the way.
No cash and an iPhone 6.
So we are going to get into our Tech Talk segment. Avi has been following Apple all morning to get you this latest breaking news.
Yes, sir. I see, Mr. Munzing, you got the iPhone 6 today.
Yep, they were talking about the new iPad. Yes, they were.
Today they were announcing new products. That's Apple. Yosemite will be available on Monday free for upgrade, as well as the iPad Air 2 will be released, and you can order it tomorrow, actually. And it's supposed to be thinner, faster, and all the good stuff, and a better screen.
Will it bend?
What's that?
Will it bend?
Well, I don't know. They didn't show, but the commercial they showed a pencil sitting next to it, and then they came with a laser beam, shaved the pencil to make it even thinner, and then he held it. He said, "Can you see it?" So, so that's how he started the show. And then they are coming up with an iPad Mini 2, and the other thing they showing capability. They showed a new software called Pixelator. That you can run it on the iPad. It's almost as powerful as Photoshop.
No.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes. And they said the line is blurring between a desktop and a tablet.
Yeah.
And the power of the tablet.
Yeah. No way. They're almost as powerful. So it's like a shot right over Adobe's bow.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it's a warning.
It's two kids from Albania.
No, those Albanians are so crafty.
Those
are who you need to look out for.
Yes. And the beauty of all the devices going to be communicating with each other, and you can go to Apple TV without a Wi-Fi.
What?
Yes, so
how are you going to get to Apple TV without a Wi-Fi? Bluetooth?
You can take it from your iPad. They have the Apple Drop, I guess, from your iPad directly to the TV without a Wi-Fi.
Do they? So they released a new Apple TV today?
No, Apple TV. Just
an update.
Probably.
Oh, look, that's us with Alec.
Yeah. And the other news: Google is debuting an Android with a Lollipop today, with the operating system, and they are releasing a Nexus 6 inches.
That's bigger than the
iPhone Plus. Yes.
You know why they call it Lollipop?
Why do they call it Lollipop?
Because the operating system's gonna suck.
I was waiting to see where that was going.
Good one. And actually, another news. First, we learned yesterday HBO going to go directly to streaming.
Oh, to Netflix.
Wow.
To streaming their own channel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a cable to do that. And this morning I saw an article. CBS will be streaming all their content and the libraries they have for $5.99 a month.
Oh, AMC needs to do that so I can stop downloading Walking Dead.
If I watch anything on CBS,
we all said.
Yeah.
The sport will not be streamed.
But you're not a big CBS guy, huh?
Not a big CBS
I'm thinking Fox is burned into your
Well,
TV
I did a lot of Fox before, but now I do so much with Netflix, and Netflix is good. Hey,
actually, today Netflix took a hammer in the stock market, went down $120.
Which one is that, Abby?
Netflix.
Oh, wow.
They took a dip in the stock market because supposedly they did not reach their projected profits, and then they had some issues with now HBO going on the line. So
well, let me give you some free advice. If you're going to get Netflix stock, get it while it's low because, the comedian Chelsea Handler, she released her comedy. She debuted it. They used to do it on pay-per-view or on HBO. She debuted it directly on Netflix.
Wow.
Bypassing all of the cable companies and big things. So.
And they have a new movie that's going to go on Netflix on the movie theaters at the same time.
Hulu and Netflix are both creating so much of their own content. So, good content, too.
Well, I'm watching The Walking Dead right now. It's great. As you guys chat. Hey. Kill that zombie. Kill that zombie.
Calm down, everyone. Calm down. He's
Stick
not packing.
In the head. Stick it now. Got to learn how to handle zombies in this world,
Well, with the Ebola virus coming, God only knows what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into that later. I just wanted to preview it for you guys.
He's teasing the Ebola.
I'm teasing it. A little teaser of the Ebola.
Okay, so we are going to talk to David Freedman about the Ebola and what should we worry about, not worry, get on a plane, not get on a plane, buy hazmat suits to walk around with them. They cost $1,300.
Do you know, though, that they're not very protective, I heard this morning?
No, that's why.
They don't even work.
No, I know. Well, obviously, when the nurse contracted it, and she
Yeah.
was saying, the CDC guys have not been handling that. Head of the CDC needs some help because he's
Have you
he's
seen the
bad,
picture?
bad guy.
Have you seen the picture of Clipboard Guy? Have you heard about this?
No, I missed that.
There's a picture of them transporting a guy with Ebola to a plane.
Yeah.
Everyone around him is in hazmats except for one
Yeah.
guy
Oh, yeah.
with a
Oh.
clipboard. And then there's a picture of him handling like the trash bag.
The
So
thing.
people are, conspiracy theorists
Yeah.
Wow.
are like, oh, well, is it really even a thing? Like, they're saying it's not a real thing. The government released it. It's fake because it's
well,
election
we didn't
time.
land on the moon. It was in Arizona, wasn't it? I think, hey, it's Ebola.
Yeah. So we're going to get more into Ebola and that topic later. And right now we're going to get into our product review segment.
Okay.
And of course, we have another fantastic review for our product from Aputure. Let me grab it real quick.
Okay.
It's all the way down here. It fell over. This is the Aputure V1 VMic D1. Let me tell you something about this. Another great Aputure product. And this is what I always say: plug and play. Normally, you have to pay about $30 or $40 for one of these. Comes with it. This is they call it dead cat or whatever. It helps with the wind noise. But not only that, but you get a lot of these have fancy mounts to mount to the top of the camera. But this one is the fanciest of the fancy mounts because you can actually.
Wow.
It's
rotate.
directional.
That's
Most of them
cool.
are just straight on. You can point it up and down. I've used it a lot at weddings. It's battery operated. It works fantastic. I wouldn't use it as a primary audio source, but that's also what it's not marketed for, unless you put it on a boom pole and boom somebody properly. But it definitely helps with in-camera audio, especially if you're using a DSLR.
Well, those are very, So
And
you've got people on a lavalier.
What's the
this
price
Yeah.
of this
Huh?
gadget? The price.
The price of this is $189, I believe. Now, here's the thing about it. We got a Sennheiser one, right? And it was how much?
$250.
$250 for
Just
it was
the
this
mic
big.
itself. Yeah.
And it had, this has the same thing, high cut, low cut, all that stuff. And the sound quality wasn't any better than this.
No,
You're paying under $200. Rode is the same thing. They're very expensive. The
Plus
insides.
the other one did not come with any.
Oh, and it doesn't come with anything. Yeah, you have to
pieces.
buy your dead cat. That's $40. You have to buy an adjustable mount if you want to be able to turn it different ways.
It's $30 for the adjustable mount.
Yeah.
$30 for the dead cat.
Yeah, so these are plug and play. Take them, plug them in. It's on your camera. You're getting audio. But the insides, the internals of this microphone are made in the same factory as Rode.
Wow.
So I'm almost going to guarantee you're getting the same stuff that is in a Rode mic.
Yeah.
And that's just, for the price, for what you get, and the fact that you can come directly to us and get it, and we have the best customer service on the planet.
Yeah.
You can't beat
Mr.
that.
Kyle here can help you get one ASAP. Just call him.
Yeah, we'll call the office.
Well,
and
all the reviews is not just reviewing what you read. It's actually used.
No, I've used this at several weddings.
Yeah.
If you go to the Instagram actually for Aputure, you'll see pictures from my company actually posting these up.
Yeah.
We've used these, the lights we've shown, and we have a couple other products too that we're going to talk about in the future. And hopefully we'll have Ted Sim on the show, who is the regional, or not regional, he runs the whole United States for Aputure. He sells, he's the sales rep guy.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're trying to get him on the show. When we come back from the show, we're going to be getting into our Digging in the Dirt segment. We're also going to be getting into world news and then talk to Mr. Mike Munzing some more. So stay with us, and we'll see you when we get back.
eHomes.com, the virtually better way to buy or sell your home.
Let's face it, if there were a better, cheaper way to buy or sell your home, you'd do it, right? Well, now there is. eHomes.com. Now you can list homes, view homes, make an offer, even check out the neighborhood right from your computer. You get superior service if you're buying and lower commissions if you're selling. And there are real people to talk to by phone or stop by one of our offices.
eHomes.com, the virtually better way.
In today's high-priced real estate market, the traditional broker's commissions are just too high. At eHomes.com, we not only dramatically reduce commission fees to the seller, we pay buyer's fees that can amount to thousands of dollars. Visit our website or see us in person to find out more. Remember, that's eHomes, where the S stands for service, savings, and satisfaction.
eHomes.com, the virtually better way to buy or sell your home.
eHomes.com.
Welcome back from the commercial break. I'm glad you guys have stuck with us through all of this today. So we're going to be getting into our Digging in the Dirt segment. And this week, Avi, we're going to do things a little differently. I know I normally run this segment. We talk about some weird thing that's going on. Like last week was Eric Camden, the dad from Seventh Heaven. We talked about him. The week before was, I forget what the week before was. And then, there's the kid that took crack to school. But this week we're going to get into something a little bit more personal for me anyway. If you only listen to the show and you have never watched it, which you can watch it on iTunes or YouTube, then you probably think I'm just a jerk. But if you've watched the show, one thing you've realized is that I'm a fat jerk, a very fat jerk. So,
but still a jerk is what I'm
still
saying.
A jerk.
So,
Yeah.
Blame it on PSD.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So we're going to start a thing here on the show, and I believe Avi said he might join me in this, but we're going to have you guys follow along with my weight loss. I'm going to start getting back into exercising.
I'm now down almost 20 pounds in the last 2 months, so that's a good thing.
You got to go.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to be in the show.
I'm trying to motivate you here. I'm trying to be a motivating force.
For those of you who don't know, I was in the Army for 10 years, did a 16-month tour in Iraq, during my time in the Army I think my peak weight was 180.
Wow.
Well, now I'm up over 100 pounds over that. So it's time to buckle down.
So how much do you weigh so we can mark it on our calendar? Put a thermometer.
Probably 290 now.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
big dude.
You need to lose weight.
Big dude. So I'm gonna bring you guys on the journey with me every week. I'll do a check-in. We'll bring a scale in and we'll film me getting my weight done. We'll do befores, afters, durings. I'll update you on what I've been eating, how my exercise has been going, and I'm also going to not just update during the show, but during the week on our social media plug-in pod on Twitter, actually on everything, and as well as on our blog.
Well, just to give you a heads up, yesterday I went to Whole Food, and I told the crew earlier, and I went and bought all these fancy croissants, chocolate croissants, spent like $40. I bring it home, and my wife said, "The guys are on diet, you better not bring it in." So I left it, and I decided today I'm going to return it back to the store.
Well, the funny thing is that when she says the guys, there's only 3 people in the whole office.
Me, you, and
me, you, and Carl.
Yeah.
The other 3,
which is we are all overweight. Between
Alec,
us.
Kevin, and Steve are perfect. Actually, I'm pretty sure I could take Kevin. I could put him in my pocket. I could have a pocket Filipino going around with. Hey, Kevin, how much do you weigh, buddy?
145.
How much?
145.
And how tall are you?
About 5'9".
Yep, pocket Filipino. You're lucky you haven't been sold to some dude in Europe yet.
Yep.
So that's the goal.
The
goal is to follow me when I lose weight. You guys get on me. I mean, this is on YouTube, so there's going to be some jerk out there who's already commenting about it. But, join me in this. If you want to be part of it, you can text or you can hashtag plug in weight loss, and then we'll all do it together. We can do it as a big group thing.
I'll teach you the joys of steaming cabbage.
Oh, steaming cabbage.
Steaming cabbage is pretty boring, but you lose weight. It is boring.
Well, on more serious news today, or more serious topic, we wanted to talk to and get Mike Munzing opinion on what's happening in the Middle East, and specifically ISIS. Because we hear conflicting
Terrible
stories.
Terrible segue.
Why?
We were talking about weight loss, and then you just cut me off.
Well,
there's a lot
you
of
want to
people losing
continue?
weight.
No, it's okay. No. So, Mike, before he pulls out an Uzi and takes us all out, let him talk. Just let him talk.
Was it a tactful segue?
That's okay. So
So Iraq. No,
Iraq.
Middle East.
Well,
What
Middle
are
East
we-
overall.
what
You got
should we
Iraq,
do?
Syria. You've got Turkey's aspect to that. You've got the ISIS. You've got ISIL, which is that's the broader.
Aren't they ISIS and ISIL are the same?
Levant, but it's just a broader. The ISIL is a broader outlook, which includes Israel and the whole Levant
So
area.
what should we do with these douchebag there?
We made so many, in my mind, we've made so many mistakes leading up to this. The fact we didn't leave any troops there, or we just walked away, made it
In Iraq,
really difficult.
you're talking about, or Afghanistan?
Out of Iraq,
Iraq
originally.
yeah.
Afghanistan's kind
We
of.
still have some there.
Afghanistan's still separate. It's over there. Whether we should be there or not, that's a separate battle
Issue,
than
yeah.
this.
But don't you think that if we leave Afghanistan, the same thing's going to happen there?
Afghanistan's a whole different. As they say, nobody's ever successfully controlled Afghanistan because of the. I mean, the Russians tried it. I think Mongols tried it before. I mean, for hundreds and hundreds of years,
And the British
thousands
tried
of
it.
years. Yeah, nobody's ever been successful. So Afghanistan's a whole different story, but it's all related.
But still, terrorists are lurking there.
Well, I think what part of the problem is that we're doing now is that the way we're attacking this is, even the British are saying, well, guys, what are you doing? You're attacking in Iraq, and you're also attacking them in Syria. So we're not leaving them a pathway to get out. So the idea for me would be attack them heavily in Iraq, leaving a pathway. If we drive them all back into Syria, then Assad's, it's going to be another fight there. And I'd rather have them all fighting over in Syria than try and fight him because, if you give them an out, then they'll head back into Syria.
Yeah.
And then that'll become
give them
much
someone
more
else, make it someone else.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean,
under the rug. Sweep them under
the
the
whole
rug.
fight in Syria, Assad, as bad as he is, I'm not trying to say that Assad's good at all, but he did protect the Christians and the other religions in that area from just getting annihilated.
Yeah.
So as bad as he is, you had as more of a civil war. You had bad guys killing bad guys, and if there could be a place in the world where bad guys are killing bad guys and we don't have to stick our big foot in there, I'd rather keep our foot out. But I think we may be beyond that. I don't know. It's hard.
Well, I think that's good for this segment. We have Dr. David Freedman waiting on the line, so we got to kind of hurry and get to him.
Yes, and we are going to discuss the Ebola issue, and then we are going to close with our segment on better news that next week we will have ICANN representative to come and show the new product, the stabilizer for the iPhone.
Yeah. No, give it away.
Okay.
Too late.
We're coming in. We're bringing
talking
Dave.
about
Dr.
eye
David
candy.
Freedman
Eye
in.
candy
Yeah.
is what he's talking about.
Okay.
We have Dr. David Freedman. Dr. David Freedman with us, and he's going to be with us for our World News segment. He is working in the Ebola field.
Well, I don't know if at the Ebola field.
Well, maybe not a field full of Ebola, but he's working in dangerous diseases or something.
That's it. Well, today our guest is, as Kyle said, Dr. David Freedman, coming to us from Boston, and his company in Next Gen Arrays. Just a little background, Dr. Freedman is Southern California native. And he holds a BA degree in economics and BS degree in electrical engineering. He holds a PhD degree in electrical engineering from Boston University, Boston, Massachusetts, and was a professor at Boston University. Dr. Freedman, welcome.
Hi, welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Yes. We, as you know, we are dealing today with all the infectious diseases and what have you, and I understand you kind of working on different options for testing and to speed up the test of different infectious diseases. Can you talk about it a little bit? Or you are free to talk about it?
Yeah, that's right, Avi. So at Next Gen Arrays, we're developing a new diagnostic that effectively can be used in the field, but doesn't compromise on sensitivity. So we're able to do rapid detection without compromising on the lower limits of detection. So in our diagnostic, we're able to look at many different pathogens, and one of the ones that you're very interested in is we're able to diagnose or detect Ebola. So we can detect Ebola virus directly on our chip with sensitivity that's comparable to the gold standards out there. And so this is a critical test going on right now in West Africa because it often takes up to 3 days to get a confirmation on their detection. And so during that time, patients are being cohorted into what could be unsafe environments if they don't actually have the disease. So being able to rapidly detect it is critical to containing this outbreak.
So I'm sorry, Avi. So it's a chip that does the detecting.
The chip is the special part of that's what our technology is. We're enhancing the chip, but it's a chip is the consumable, and then we also have a reader, an automated reader. So the premise is that the system is sample to answer. So you put the blood on the chip, you put it in the reader, and then it'll give you a quantifiable result.
Wow.
So how long your machine takes to verify if the person is infected or not?
Yeah, I can do detection of whether or not there's Ebola virus in
How
the
long does it
fluid that
take?
you're putting it in, typically blood. So right now it takes under an hour, but our target and we're working towards is detection in under 30 minutes.
Wow, that's a great. We could have saved the people in the jetliner that went to Ohio and from Ohio to
That's right.
Texas.
That's right.
All the headaches and
Yeah.
being isolated.
Well, how long currently do the methods we use currently? How long do they take?
Well, so the methods take typically between 2 to 4 hours, but the bottleneck is getting the sample into a central lab. As you can imagine in West Africa, I mean, I haven't been, but my understanding is that those are few and far in between. So it can take quite a while to get the sample to the lab, run it through their tests, which they typically run maybe once or twice a day, and then get the result back onto the field. So it's really a bottleneck in terms of bringing the sample to a central lab. That's really the problem.
Is it? Have you gotten CDC approval? Are you working with the CDC because they are idiots down there? They don't know exactly what's happening with all the information they keep sending to us.
You're infected now, Avi.
Well, I wouldn't phrase it exactly like that. We're not working with the CDC on this project. I mean, I think my philosophy is that they're doing an exceptional job, but we're working closely with a lot of partners that are involved in this outbreak, and so we're trying to get our technology into the field as soon as we can.
Because the way we see it on TV, it looks like they don't know what they are doing, and everybody is running around like a chicken without their heads on. And that's the impression we're getting.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to compare what's happening in West Africa compared to here. So we have had 3 cases, which is a lot, but so far it hasn't spread beyond that. I'll really start getting worried when there's tens of cases and then the outbreak hasn't been contained. I think it's expected. This virus is deadly and it is easily transmittable. So it's a complicated process.
Well, how?
But,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, they could have. The problem is that all the people that you would expect to be on the outbreak are actually dealing with it in West Africa, and they're not here. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, that is the point of where we need to contain the outbreak. So it is a difficult problem, and there's no easy answer.
Well, how long have you been working in the field with Ebola?
So we've been actually working on this project for about 4 years right now, and we're at the point right now where we have a demonstrable prototype, and we're moving it into other labs so that they can verify the system. So it's been ongoing for about three and a half years, and we're getting really close to having something that can actually be used outside the lab.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just going to ask, where are you getting your funding for research and to develop the product?
Right. So I'm a company. I'm Next Gen Array. So I'm the commercialization end of a technology that's been developed at Boston University, and so I'm a subcontract on a grant that's from the National Institute of Health. So they're funding this work. They've been behind us this whole time and have been very supportive as we continue to develop the system. It's been ongoing for about 4 years, and we have another year left on this, and then at that point we're going to look for the next step.
And what is
So
exactly
we're
the
working
next
closely
step?
with the National Institute of Health. I'm sorry?
What is the next step? Bringing the
The
product
next
to
step
market?
is to have a product out there, is to have
Are you
something
planning
that can
to
be
commercialize
used. I mean,
it so you
ideally,
can
we'd
ship?
like to see, I'm most interested in obviously making a difference where I live in my country, so I'd like to see this instrument be used in hospitals around the country, especially, for example, what happened in Dallas. Something like this could have been an easy test to run when the person was in the emergency room, and that's where I'd like to see it. All the national labs in all the different states. And then, ideally, as we continue to develop the technology and make it more affordable, we'd like to see it move into developing countries like West Africa.
Great. Well, that's fantastic. I forgot what I was going to ask. Go ahead.
Well, okay.
I totally spaced. I had a question,
Well done,
but I was
Kyle.
so enthralled with what you were
Kyle's on it.
saying. I lost
Is,
it.
Oh, pleasure
is
is
it
mine.
is
Pleasure
it
is
going
mine.
to be commercialized so we can satisfy the need in this country and ultimately ship it overseas? Is that the
I mean,
goal?
I would say I'm in the process of commercialization. Given we've been working on this for a few years now, and obviously we weren't expecting an outbreak. And in the resources that we currently have, we're expecting to have something closer in about a year. And so what I'm trying to do in the next month is really find some way to accelerate this process, and that really comes down to resources.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's like
looking
the
for
timing is
resources.
perfect. It's perfect timing, not necessarily in a good way, but at least we have an
Right.
answer.
Not on a coincidence, are you saying, Avi?
I hope to,
Well, I
I hope
think-
to make a difference in this outbreak.
I think that some people might think that with you, Dr. David, that you got into this to make money, but you were in this field before this was national media. I mean, well before. I mean, there were Ebola outbreaks before, but nothing on this scale. So
Nothing at this level. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got into it
No, I mean,
before.
we're trying to make a difference. I mean, one of the things that our test that we're working with is actually there's another disease called Lassa that's actually endemic both in the United States and in West Africa. And up until this outbreak had killed more people every year than
Yeah.
Ebola had in its entire history. And so our test can actually distinguish between those two, even though the symptoms are almost identical. And so
Wow.
really we're in it for the long game. We're here to make a difference. And I think that our technology provides that solution.
So does that mean that you're also able to tune your technology to also pick up the other virus as well then?
That's right. That's right. I mean, we have a platform, our technology, we have a detection platform, and we can look at many different pathogens. We can look at other things too. For example, sensitive protein detection for Alzheimer's disease or other applications. So we're very interested in making a healthcare difference. So Ebola is one thing, but we're not just about Ebola. We're about helping diagnostics get better.
What makes your technology unique, and what differentiates you from other? Because I just heard something that there's another company in Colorado working on similar product.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I didn't hear about them there.
So that's
No,
a great
what?
question, and actually they have a wonderful technology because their test can truly be used in the field at what they call the point of care or at the site of need. It's very similar to a pregnancy test. It's what they call a rapid lateral flow test. The challenge with that test is the detection sensitivity. So the price is good, the easeability or use is very simple, but the lower limits of detection are not quite there. And so what we distinguish ourselves is that we're essentially a sample to answer, so completely automated, and then we're able to look at many different things at the same time. But really the most important part is being able to detect the people who might not just be dying of Ebola, but might be becoming sick from it. So the low levels of detection are much more difficult with that kind of test. So that's where our platform really shines.
Have you ever thought about going into politics? Because that answer was so neutral. Like you did not
I
want to
wouldn't
say that their
say I
technology was not as good
appreciate
as yours.
I did. It's fun.
So,
you, I
are
appreciate
you seeking any funding or monies, or are you
Yes,
fine
yes,
with
we are
money?
actively looking for, I mean, right now we have a lot of non-dilutive funding from the federal government in terms of grants, but we're looking for also angels and venture capitals to help support us. I mean, our goal right now is to get something in the field to make a difference now. So
Okay.
Your lights went
that's all
off.
my
Where?
Your lights went off. He's
That
dark.
was you, not us. Okay.
Hey,
There we go.
Mike has been preparing for this. He's
Yeah.
been preparing for the lights to go out, so he's good. Oh,
That
they're
works.
back on.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So how an investor or somebody interested can get hold of you and talk to you? Because it's something that it's on the forefront of the media today. And
That's
I
right.
know there's a lot of investors as well as angels investors that looking for an opportunity.
So if someone's looking to reach out and speak to us at NextGen, I would suggest that they go to the website. It's ngabio.com, so ngabio.com, and then they can email me from there in the contact form, or they can call me. The phone number's listed there, and I'm happy to speak to anyone and everyone and just hear what their thoughts are, see if we
Okay.
can make a difference.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah, one quick question from me. I'm having a little trouble hearing, so I have heard I didn't know if we talked about the airborne aspects of it, because I have been hearing rumor that it has gone airborne, and the Ebola has a tendency to mutate as it grows. As somebody once said, it has a vote in this and trying to survive as well, so it mutates in an effort to stay alive. And yours is primarily about detection, but is it a broader detection? So if it mutates slightly, you're still able to detect it.
So that's a wonderful question. So first off, I'm not currently worried about airborne. Technically, it can be transmitted that way, but the likelihood is almost zero. So I wouldn't be scared of that. But of course, it's not impossible, but very, very, very unlikely. In terms of detection, so the thing I'd say is that you're spot on. During this outbreak, the virus has probably mutated more times than it ever has in its previous history because it's had a chance to infect so many people. And every time it's replicating, it's also mutating. So, that may have made it more deadly, and that's partially why I think why we're having trouble containing this outbreak. In terms of our detection platform, we are, one of the great things about our platform is that we're not as sensitive as as the gold standard, which is what they call DNA amplification or nucleic acid amplification. That test is looking for a specific genomic sequence, and when that can change during this mutation. So we look actually for the antibodies on the surface of the virus, and those are much less likely to mutate. And so because we're just a little less specific, that gives us a lot more flexibility in looking for viruses that may have mutated. So I like to think that we've covered our bases there. And in previous outbreaks, they have been missed because of that exact thing, where the virus had mutated based on their previous estimates, and they missed the detection for months. Whereas what we call ours is similar to an antibody type test. That's a lot less specific. So there is some downsides, but for what we're trying to do, it has that advantage of being able to detect a virus that is mutating in the wild.
Dr. Freedman, we took too much of your time, and I know you have to run. So thank you for coming on the show, and we'll all the success, and hopefully we can help you raise the capital you want by exposing it to the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Yes.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Keep up the good work.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Mike Munzing.
Wonderful to be here.
Excellent guest. I hope we have you back again sometime so we can get more into these issues we talked about.
That'd be wonderful.
You can get a hold of Mike on all of his social media. You want to tell him what that is?
At Mike Munzing for Twitter, and it's MikeMunzing, and Facebook. Just look up the same name. My mortgage company, you can reach out to that to those two aspects of Twitter and Facebook. But I'm been down here 25 years, and if you're looking to buy a home, love to help.
Awesome.
And your website on the
It's www.mikemunzing.com. Does
Very
sound
original.
kind of narcissistic, but it seems to work.
So if you enjoyed the show today, make sure you follow us on the three big social media platforms. We are at Plugin Pod. Next week, we are going to have a guest on the show. His name is Erwin Goldstein, a representative from ICANN, and he is bringing with him some goodies to share with everyone. He's bringing with him Fly X 3-axis gimbal stabilizers for your smartphone, and he's going to give us some to give out to you guys. So we're going to have a little contest, and you guys can enter it and see if you can win one.
Yeah.